Hello and welcome to another edition of the Yellow Jacket Experience. I'm Seth Dussault, the voice of the Yellow Jackets, and joining me, our latest inductee into the AIC Athletics Hall of Fame, Gabriel Mokwuah. Gabe, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you very much for having me. I'm honored to be here. Honestly, I am. Thank you very much.
The pleasure is all mine. I promise you that. You have an incredible story, and it's more than just about the football. So let's start at the beginning. Let's start with you. I believe you were 12 years old when you came to the United States, and the experience you had. I mean, people unfortunately are not always as nice as they should be, and that to put it mildly. And you experienced a lot of xenophobia, racism, bullying when you first came over. You're obviously in a country where you're learning a new language, so you've got a lot of things going against you as a young kid. What was it that allowed you to persevere through that kind of a situation? Because that's not something that a lot of people could handle, even as adults, let alone as a 12-year-old kid.
Honestly, this might sound sad, but as a young immigrant, I always thought it was part of the initiation. Like someday people will accept you, someday people will leave you alone, someday people will accept you as one of them. So not just me, but a lot of immigrant kids at that age, living in projects, New York City, where there's a lot of violence. We just accepted it as, hey, listen, we're not from this country. We don't have anybody to advocate for us. So this is something we have to go through. Painful as it is, that's where we saw it. So knowing that someday that we might come out the other end better, I think that was the biggest motivation for us. So, our culture and knowing where we came from clearly made a difference in terms of keeping us focused, in terms of realize like, hey, listen, we are going to get through this no matter what. We're not going to live in this project forever. So that was the drive. It's like really you have no option. Either you're going to grow up, drive a cab the rest of your life, live in the projects, or you're going to try to make it and find something better for yourself and your family. So honestly, that was the biggest motivation for us. And also knowing that you have family back home that depend on you. So you have no choice. You have to go. You have to do what's necessary to get you where you need to be.
Now you mentioned family back home, but you also had some family over here when you came here. Your older sister,
Agnes,
yes, was here. How much did having her support and having her there for you matter to you, especially in the early days when you were first getting used to being in a place like New York City?
Oh yeah, no doubt. My sister was like literally if it wasn't for her, honestly, there's a day that I cried. I wanted to go back home. It was just that bad. But having her here, see how much she struggled, see the fact she's working 2 jobs and she never complained, even though we didn't have much money, but there's always food in the fridge. She tried her best, her house is always clean. She never complained. She worked 2 jobs. She never complained. So how can I complain? So that's the way I looked at it. I couldn't complain. It's just not fair, So whatever was necessary to help her, I did. But definitely her being on my side, always encouraging me to do better, definitely helped. Without it, honestly, I don't know what would happen.
Now, one thing that you did growing up in both in Nigeria here, you played plenty of football, as the rest of the world calls it. But
soccer.
Soccer, as we call it here, not what we call football in the United States. So how did you end up on the gridiron football field playing that kind of football as a soccer player growing up?
So it was funny. Like like most immigrant kids, I struggled in school. Just naturally it was going to happen. My education back home wasn't. I don't remember it. So coming here was like an uphill battle. It was uphill. It was uphill. So I wind up going to summer school at my high school. I went to, it's called Curtis High School, and I met a coach there, Coach Oliveri. The guy I speak out, but he's like literally my dad. And he saw me, and he tried to get me to play football. He's like, "Hey, you ever play football?" And I'm like, "Football, soccer? Yes, I have played soccer. All my life. He's like, you should come out and try out. I'm like, okay. So I think one day I was just in the field watching these people run around with I call his metal helmet. And I'm like, what is people doing? Like, I could not understand the game. I just couldn't pick it up. I just said, well, they would look at it, just run around a circle. So, he keep asking me to come try out. I'm like, no, I'm not going to come try out. I'm going to go play soccer. I'm a soccer player. So finally, he convinced me, just keep bugging me after I see me in the hallway. Come try out, come try out. And I was fast. Naturally, I was been an athlete, So he made a bet. He's like, come out, meet me on the field. If you beat me in a race, I'll never talk to you. I'll leave you alone. But if I beat you, you have to come try out. So of course, I beat him. But I went out. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go try out just so this guy will leave me alone. I just wanted to leave me. Honestly, I just wanted to leave me alone. Yeah. And I tried out. He was, I didn't know how to, just didn't understand the concept of the game. I just know, like, my first practice, I wanted to close line in one of the running backs. I literally almost took his head off because I didn't know how to tackle. I didn't know the mechanics of actually grabbing somebody and putting him on the ground. And from that day on, it was just like, whoa, they're like, yeah, he can. I think when he mentioned scholarship to me, to me he got my attention. I get a chance to get a scholarship, maybe. I mean, it wasn't guaranteed, but it's a chance to get a scholarship, and that got my attention. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna put all my effort into this game and see what comes out of it.
Now, you talked about Coach Oliveri as almost being like a second dad to you. Beyond just what he taught you in terms of playing the game of football, what kind of things did he do to help you, improve your situation to, off the field?
Oh, honestly, he was just not just for me, but a lot of inner city kids are very poor like me, from disadvantaged family. He was literally like I said, a lot of people didn't come. They had my sister, my father died young. But he was literally that father figure. Like the guy who drove around Friday night in a project in Staten Island, which I would have been doing, and make sure all the kids are not, wandering the street. That's the kind of person he was. And SAT, who come and pick you up 7 o'clock in the morning to go take your SAT score. He'll call you. You make sure you're doing good in school. If there's a problem in school, he's the first one to call you. And he was just, they don't make people like that anymore. The guy was calling coaches before I even know what, he was going to make sure that I get out of that project. Not just for me, there's a couple of other guys, my teammates that wanted to go to NFL also, that he did it for. It was the way the coaching was back in those days. I don't know if it is now, but those guys are literally your dad. Like, you fear them. Like, they better not come to your house and knock on your door. You're in trouble. So he was just, honestly, without him, I don't know where I'll be.
Now, he certainly helped you on the field as well. You were able to develop into a really good football player. You end up getting MVP of the New York City High School Senior Bowl, which is obviously, that's a big deal. That's a lot of potential people that could have gotten that. You end up getting that. What was that experience like for you as a high school athlete to get kind of such a big award?
I think at some point I realized I had to do more. Most kids I was playing with, it's weird, like a kid who grew up like me, like I grew up literally in a mud house in a village in Africa, to go to people's house and realize, wow, look what they have. They have a nice house. Realize these kids are not playing like I'm playing. I'm playing to get out. They are playing to have fun. It's a recreation for them. So I realized I need to do more. So a lot of us need to do more, not just me. Every hill I found, I ran every hill. I was in the gym, 10 o'clock, and I couldn't afford a gym. And my story. The owner finally gave me secret key so I can go out and walk out at night. So I would be at 10 o'clock at night, see the kids walk by, look at me, they laugh at me. To me, that was like motivation. That was motivation. I had to work twice as hard. I never thought I was good. I just knew, I have to keep getting better. So winning that award, it was big. Like, for me, it wasn't surprising. At that level, I know I was, like I said, going against other people, I just know like they're gonna stop me. It's just a matter of me doing what I need to do. So that was, I was at that level. I just know I was ready to go to the next level.
Out of all the places you could have gone, and you had been in contact with some big names, why AIC? What made you decide that a little school in Springfield, Massachusetts was where you wanted to be?
Well, it was two factors. One was Coach Oliveira. Coach Azanara was a defensive coordinator. He's a big time coach at NFL. He's at lives in
Was it
lives in
UCLA?
California, UCLA. Yes. So he was a Staten Island guy. He was very persuasive. He was one of the first people that recruited me. He called me because he knew I struggled academically, not in so much in math, but in English. Try to get my SAT up. So he would call me after every SAT score and test that I took. He asked me, how did I do? He said, keep working, don't give up. Other schools, not so much. They would recruit me. They came in afterwards. Syracuse of the world and Maryland. Somebody wanted to go to prep school for 1 year, and just coming from knowing my financial situation. You can go to prep school and get hurt, get absolutely nothing, or you can take what you have. And I trusted the guy, so that was. I could have went to other schools like University of New Haven, other schools from in the South, but I just felt when I went to AIC, it was a very small school, and I liked honestly I was intimidated, like going not athletic wise but academic wise. I didn't want to get lost. I didn't want to be in school where there's 100 kids in class. I know I couldn't survive. So coming to AIC, having a smaller class, was very, for me, that was a good fit for me.
And it worked out in so many ways. On the field, you were your first year, you were rookie of the year, you were first team all conference. It's a big leap going from playing high school to playing college football. So what was it that allowed you to make that big jump so quickly, so successfully? Because a lot of players don't make that jump that easily.
Honestly, playing football, this might sound, I don't want to sound, this playing sports was the easy part. Life was the hard part. I don't think people understand that. The fact that a kid like me was given a chance to come to a place, leave crime infected place where people like literally, every time I walk down the stairs, don't worry about getting shot. To come to a place where you're protected by teammates, coaches, you're given a free room on board, you're given a free education. Everything else was, to me, football was the easy part. Life was the hard part.
So who are some of the people at AIC that helped you advance yourself as a person? Maybe give me one person involved with football and then one person who off the field helped you in your time at AIC.
Definitely Coach Eisenhower played a critical role. Also, I can name two. Defensive coordinator, Skirker. I always said if he coached me 4 years, I'd have been All-American 4 years. He was just that good of a coach. Coach Eisenhower, clearly, he was one of those old school coaches. Off the field, I met really wonderful people. One of my best friends is Sharon Kashmar. She lives in New Hampshire. She really helped me in terms of just keeping me grounded. I was always a humble person anyway, coming from a humble family. So that part wasn't a problem for me. Probably is distraction, making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do. Make sure you're, freshman year is always tough. And sophomore year is always tough because that's when you don't have nobody checking. You make sure you're home at 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. You can easily, go do different stuff, not so much about, drinking and partying. And for me, it was meeting people who are humble, who are the same mindset. And I met really, really wonderful people here. That was honestly, my memory, AIC is what I remember the most.
So how much did the upbringing that you had, the experiences that you had help you to maintain that humility, that kind of focus on doing what you needed to do? Because it's so often, like you said, that people in the spot that you were in at AIC, where you're an All-American football player, it's easy to go off the rails, and you didn't.
Honestly, it's you have to keep reminding yourself. Like I said in my story, I thought there was a time like I was maybe like I wasn't too long, but period of time where I was getting too distracted with all the NFL coaches and drafts and draft talks and people. I always maintain a small circle of people. I'm not one of those people who goes out Friday nights. I'm always in my dorm. People will start patting you back, telling you how great you are. I never like that part of my story, part of my life. I never want people telling me. I want people who I love to tell me the truth. That's who I want to tell me the truth. I don't want people telling me other stuff because they don't know me. They don't know my story. So that part of my story, like I said, that's where I thought I could have done better. But in terms of being humble, I understand where I'm from. My mom, literally, I say this story all the time. Growing up, I always thought my mom had an allergy, but she cried herself to sleep every night because she couldn't figure out how to, provide food for us next day. So that kind of stuff keeps you humble.
Now, you talk about pro teams and getting drafted, and you did get drafted. The Green Bay Packers picked you. What was that like getting that call? Hey, this is the Green Bay Packers, and we want you to play for us.
It was quite an experience. Like I said, I was projected to go, I believe, 5th round. As you know, I got injured my senior year. I thought that cost me a lot. So when I finally got a call, whether I was going to be drafted, being drafted means a lot because it gives you a little leeway in terms of how team sees you. But it was a wonderful call. I was disappointed I didn't get picked early. Talent-wise, I thought I was up there with the rest of the Michigans of the kids from Michigan and whatever Notre Dame. I was athletically, I was right there, even above some of those kids. But my problem was I was going to transition from defensive line to a linebacker, and for me that was extremely hard. Competing against kids who are playing linebackers in middle school. They know all the formations, and to go from just rushing, the quarterback to have to make calls and align people or move people. To me, I think that was the biggest obstacle for me making the NFL. I think if I was in the right situation, I think I would have made the team. I would have made the NFL team, no doubt about it. I'm not sure. I have no doubt in my mind.
One of the people you got to meet during that time with the Green Bay Packers was a young quarterback by the name of Brett Favre, who was obviously, one of the best ever. What was it? What was he like at that point in his career, and kind of what has it been like seeing what he was able to do and being like, that's a guy I met when he was a rookie?
Honestly, like Brett was, he was one of, they loved him because he was one of the regular guys. He went out with the offensive linemen, he went out with defensive linemen, hanging around everybody. He wasn't a big superstar then. He was just a kid from, I believe he came from Atlanta, right? He was a trade, so he came over. Mikowski was a quarterback, and it was more like it was drama. He wanted to bring his own limo to the preseason games, and he didn't really hang around with his team. So Brett was great. Everybody loved him. He went out drinking with everybody else, and there was no issue. But honestly, when you go to the NFL camp, there's no such thing as big stars. For a rookie like me, I'm hungry. I'm looking to take people out. So to me, it doesn't matter whether you're a 10-year rookie or pros. It doesn't. To me personally, it doesn't matter to me. I'm looking to make a team. So if you stand in my way, I'm gonna knock you down. It doesn't matter who you are. I'll pick you up. I'll knock you down again.
No, absolutely. Now, you played football for a few years. You had some opportunities to continue, but you decided, enough is enough. I'm going to move on from this. What made you decide that it was time to move on, and how did you stick to that decision when you had, those potential opportunities to continue?
When I came out of AIC, I set up a goal. One thing about if you're going to be good at something, you have to have the goal. You have to have shape. You have to have a plan. So when I came out of AIC, I said 3-year goal. So my 3-year goal is as follows. Even if I make a team, if I was not making good money, like significant amount of money that will protect me health-wise and financially, I wasn't going to continue. I've seen some guys that played that game for a long time and they're in bad shape. To me, I already made up my mind. I'm going to give it 3 years. If I was not making a significant amount of money, I'm going to step away and move on because my health was more important in the long run.
Obviously, it worked out for you in that regard. Between having your degree from AIC, everything that you had done leading up to that point, you were able to have a good career. You worked in the sheriff's department. You worked, I guess, 17 years as a court officer.
Yes, sir. Yep.
What inspired you to go in that specific direction, and what was that experience like for you, that career?
Yeah, even though, I mean, sounds crazy, even though my memory of law enforcement from an early age is from Nigeria, and it's not a good one. I mean, being a young child, seeing police officer, clearly law enforcement is not the same here as it is in Nigeria. Seeing police officer literally, putting a tire on the road and stopping every car and taking everything people have. That is my early vision of law enforcement. Clearly coming here is different. I want to be in a place where I can make a difference. I want to use my experience, my upbringing to make a difference. And even if it's significant and little, whatever it is, I want to contribute to society in a positive way. So that kind of drove me into that direction, even though I have a business degree. So that's basically it. I've seen people struggle. I've seen better. Like I said, this country is great because there's accountability, there's a system in place, and clearly growing up, we didn't have that. So anything I could have done would have been helpful.
That makes a lot of sense in terms of wanting to make things better. That seems to be the thread that runs through all of our Hall of Famers that I've interviewed so far, is that is one of those things. The other thing, and it's certainly been a thing that you've brought up, is people, is family. And you're married, 4 daughters. 2 of them have had Division I athletic careers. Your daughter Abby is a track and field thrower at Holy Cross. I think she just recently graduated, and your daughter Kayla is at TCU as a basketball player. What does seeing them reach that level mean to you, given your own experience growing up and ultimately being able to be a college athlete yourself?
Honestly, I'm just so proud of them. I'm not so much proud of the athletic achievement, but academic achievement. They're very good students. They are really brilliant. I mean, smart kids. They're smart kids. And to me, that means more. In fact, they can play Division I sports at high level and be able to maintain high level GPA. That's something that people don't realize how hard it is. It's extremely hard. So I'm very proud of them. And also have 2 little ones, and I'm just as proud of them, whether they play sports or not.
And it just gets back to wanting to make things better, to see your kids have that kind of success on and off the field. Obviously, having been able to accomplish that, it's incredible. All of this culminates with you getting a phone call. I would assume Jessica Chapin, our athletic director, calls you and says, "You're going into the Hall of Fame at AIC." What was that phone call like for you emotionally, knowing that you were going to be recognized for what you had accomplished here at AIC, and then everything as well afterwards?
Honestly, I was taken back. I was taken back. Not often I can say I'm taken back by tens, but I was taken back. I didn't expect it. I didn't even know it was actually in the process. So that was a wonderful, wonderful call. Like I said, I don't know how anybody else feels, all the Hall of Famers, but playing sports does not make us special. There's nothing special about sports. What's special is how you treat people. How you see the world, how you live your life, how you raise your kids, how you help people if you're able, who are struggling. That's what's special. Sports is easy. Anybody can play sports. So I hope people, if anything, I want to take that from this interview to realize like we are in a unique situation, especially if you're given opportunity to play sports. If you have God that give you that talent, you have to use it. You have to use it not only to play that sports the best you can, but also to help others. You know, when I was AIC, there's you know, like sometimes you don't realize, you don't know other people's stories. You know, the people who their mom might or their dad might be drug addicts. You don't know that. You don't know what they're going home to. You just assume that, oh, we are here playing sports. Like, so there, it's important to reach out to as much people as you can, learn as much as them as you can, be as humble as you can, because like I said, football and any other sports, us playing is a privilege. There's nothing special about it. So that's my view on that.
Gabe Mokwuah, Hall of Fame athlete and a Hall of Fame person, clearly. This is inspiring to hear you speak. Again, congratulations on going into our Hall of Fame, and thank you for taking the time to chat with me. Really
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been an honor. Thank you very much.
Pleasure is all mine. Gabe Mokwuah, AIC Athletics Hall of Fame. Keep your eyes peeled this summer for more issues of the Yellow Jacket experience here at AIC.